Well, ladies and gents, Spider-Man 3 is shaping up. This is an exclusive to The Hollywood Reporter. It dropped yesterday, so quite a sort of fresh news. A lot of people have been talking about it. This does kind of look like they're doing Spiderverse, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Electro, we've got Doctor Strange, so on and so forth. Although we do know from Jamie Foxx that his Electro is going to be different. So, who knows? Who knows? Let's dive into it, shall we? Before we do, ladies and gents, I am making another movie. There is a crowdfund linked down below in the description box. I did a video yesterday on it, but the pitch is actually on the GoFundMe as well. Check it out if you want to support original content, especially when movies are being delayed non-stop. Anyway, let's have a look. It's a Lovecraft film, FYI. Let's dive into it, shall we? So, again, this is an exclusive. Benedict Cumberbatch has joined Spider-Man 3 as Doctor Strange, confirmed anyway. Now, the good and strange Doctor has been caught in the spider's web. Ha ha ha. Benedict Cumberbatch is putting on the cloak of levitation and will reprise Marvel's supernatural hero Doctor Strange for the latest Spider-Man movie installment starring Tom Hollan and being made by Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures. This sounds like a few things. Because we know that Sony's deal with Marvel this is like their last one. Apparently, they only struck a deal to make one more. So it's interesting to see that this is happening now. Could this mean, ladies and gents, that Sony is planning to spin off a wider verse here? Well, yeah, pretty obviously by the sounds of it. But it also sounds like Marvel is laying some kind of ducks in a row to be able to work a little bit more as well. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out. But the move puts Cumberbatch in the mentor role that was previously occupied by Robert Downey Jr. Interesting. I wouldn't put them together, actually. I wouldn't put them together at all. But Doctor Strange is kind of a Tony Stark-ish character in terms of how they're portrayed on screen anyway. And one of the interesting things to note, ladies and gents, maybe a spoiler for the film, I guess, but it's in the comics, is that when Spider-Man's identity is originally revealed, who does he go to change things, reverse it, make sure his identity is hidden again? Doctor Strange. What happened at the last movie? His identity was revealed. What's probably going to happen here? That, I would imagine. Now, anyway, Tony Stark, Iron Man in Spider-Man Homecoming, and by Samuel L. Jackson in Spider-Man Far From Home. The latter reprising Nick Fury, so obviously he's coming back as well. The role gives Holland a chance to play opposite seasoned actors, and it gives Peter Parker a father figure and gives the movies extra star power while tying them to the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe, but also giving them the opportunity to span outwards as well. I think this is a good move. The Spider-Man movies have been fine. They're not terrible or anything. Some of them are pretty enjoyable. But I do think you need some kind of connective tissue. Spider-Man's good. And Tom Holland, I quite like Tom Holland. But you need him to be able to bounce off of someone. So this is quite a good move, I think. Now, the Spider-Man project already has some unexpected ties going for it, as it is bringing back Jamie Foxx as Electro. Absolutely confirmed he's not going to be blue though, so it sounds like a completely different type, a new version of Electro. Just like we had, J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons, as like an Alex Jones type character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Completely different newbie. So still still J. Jonah Jameson, but a different version of. So we're getting a different version of Electro. And there's even rumours that we're going to be getting Dane DeHaan back as well. I think it was Dane DeHaan who played the Hobgoblin or Green Goblin, whatever you want to call him. So yeah, good. I don't know. Interesting. Now, the actor-character combo last seen in 2014's The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which featured Andrew Garfield as the web-slinging hero. I don't like Jamie Foxx coming back. He wasn't a good Electro anyway. It was a bad movie. Very odd to bring him back. I think Doctor Strange will pull people in. Doctor Strange will bring people in because he's had a movie and he's been in the other movies. But Jamie Foxx wasn't exactly a draw, was he, for The Amazing Spider-Man 2? unless I'm mistaken. So I think that's I said this on a live stream. It's really surprising, quite frankly. Now, having Strange as part of Spider-Man may help explain the return of Electro. Cumberbatch is about to begin shooting Doctor Strange sequel, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Might tie into that, which will explore alternate realities, and some speculate therein lies the cross-section. Yes, that's probably what's going to happen. Spider-Man 3 is due to begin shooting in Atlanta late in October, so literally this month. While Multiverse of Madness is also expected to begin shooting this month, although in London. That's probably going to have a better ride of it, because I think the lockdowns in the UK are less stringent than they are in the States currently. There's a lot of unions in the States that get in the way. And I think in the UK they're considered to be essential workers, if I remember rightly. So the highest chance, unless they catch coronavirus, is that it will definitely start shooting in London anyway. The Doctor Strange one. It's unclear when and where Cumberbatch will shoot his scenes. They're probably a lot of this stuff is done on sound stages. He's probably just going to shoot them on a sound stage. Interesting, anyway. Now, Marvel and Sony had no comment. John Watts, the filmmaker behind Homecoming and last year's Spider-Man Far From Home, is in the director's chair for the third installment, which is slated for December 17th next year. I'd imagine that's going to change because there's lots of movies changing. So all release dates are all completely up in the air. Now, interestingly enough, so this is an exclusive to THR, but they also did another article, which I think is important to have a look at, because if they're on the cusp, you've got to remember, when they do exclusives, they might also do follow-ups that they know about, that they're speculating on. Do you see how they can kind of drip feed the news out? So anyway, the inclusion of Electro and Doctor Strange is already leading to theories, but are those ideas premature? Now, what happens when you mix lightning with a little bit of magic? Call it electrical phenomena. Call it strange electricity. Call it a pretty great hook for the Marvel Cinematic Universe's third Spider-Man film. So, last week, The Hollywood Reporter broke the news that Jamie Foxx will be reprising his role as Electro in the upcoming Tom Hollan film. And then they did Doctor Strange. So, they clearly know stuff about this movie, is what I'm trying to allude to. I'd call it a shocker, but that name is already taken by another Spider-Man villain. Still, the news came as a surprise, given that Foxx previously played Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Anyway, and then news today, blah blah blah, possibility of a live-action Spider-Verse, coupled with today's news that Doctor Strange will serve as a mentor to Peter Parker in the third film, and there's a multitude of possibilities for the direction of Spidey's third solo outing in the MCU. Yes, now, so here's where they start kind of get into the meat of it all anyway. In terms of the Strange news, the inclusion of another Marvel hero has become a precedent for the MCU's take on Spider-Man, with Iron Man and Nick Fury and the role of mentor, fulfilling the role of mentor in Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home, respectively. Of course, with the exception of Iron Man, the term mentor can be taken loosely, with the young hero learning lessons from older heroes, but not necessarily replicating the relationships Peter shared with Stark. Okay. So beyond Marvel Team-Up series, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange have appeared together frequently across Marvel Comics, given their status as tried and true New Yorkers. So what does their history of team-ups mean for Spider-Man film? Now this is where there's the possibility that they are just leaking stuff. As we know from Spider-Man Far From Home's mid-credit sequence, Spider-Man's identity as Peter Parker has been revealed to the world thanks to Mysterio and J. Jonah Jameson. Doctor Strange has helped, or not helped, Spider-Man retcon his life a couple times in the comics now. During the controversial One More Day storyline, Peter turns to Doctor Strange after Aunt May is murdered and asks the Sorcerer to bring her back to life. Strange tells him there's nothing that can be done, and after attempting magic without Strange's help, Peter severely injures himself. After Strange heals him, Peter then turns to Mephisto and makes a bargain to trade his marriage to Mary Jane to bring Aunt May back to life. Now, the deal with the devil changes Spider-Man's history so that not only is his secret identity restored, but Harry Osborn is brought back to life. The story is widely accepted as being one of the worst moments in Spider-Man comic history, and obviously, I mean, it's not particularly great, in fairness. Now, there is something interesting about Peter in his desperation attempting to use magic despite Strange's insistence not to. There's a bit of the Sorcerer's Apprentice narrative that could work in ways into the next Spider-Man film, which could be because, again, his identity is revealed. Now it moves on, so in the follow-up to One More Day, one moment in time, It's revealed that the secret identity restoration wasn't Mephisto's doing, but Doctor Strange, who along with Tony Stark and Reed Richards agreed to erase everyone's memories, including themselves and MJ, of the fact that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Again, not a great story, but since the MCU never adapts stories directly, there are enough interesting seeds within this memory erasure that could make for a compelling film, or at least just taking bits of it anyway. So now we get into the Electro. So the running theory is that Jamie Foxx will be reprising the same version of the character he played in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But he did say he's not going to be blue. So in a since-deleted Instagram post, Foxx revealed he would not be blue this time, and also posted fan art of Tom Holland's Spider-Man standing alongside Andrew Garfield's and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Men, aka the Spiderverse, basically. So while there is enthusiasm for a live-action Spider-Verse, which is trending on Twitter at the moment of writing, I'm not entirely convinced yet. So this is where I think they're revealing that it's not going to be a Spider-Verse film. However, just sowing the seeds of potential usage in future, maybe. So Simmons' MCU iteration of Jameson isn't the same as the one in Sam Raimi's films, and it's entirely possible that Fox is playing a new iteration of Electro, cast again because of his status as a big-name actor and his enthusiasm for the character. He's not really a big-name actor, but fine. And just like the hint at the multiverse in Far From Home, which turned out to be a lie by Mysterio, there's a chance that this Electro business is a misdirection. Compiled with these Spider-Verse theories is the fact that Sony already has successful Spider-Verse with its Oscar-winning animated film. So, there you go. Now, they round out this with, it's possible that Electro crossing over to the MCU world is just the beginning of the multiverse exploration, with Sam Raimi helmed Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness doing the heavy lifting. So, is it? Could it be? Who knows? It does sound like there's the potential there. They're already bringing stuff out. I think that they are. Let's put it that way. But I think it will be slow and steady, because the comic book movie companies tend to sort of follow the trends of one another. DC is doing this. I would imagine Marvel will probably want to do that as well. It makes sense. It broadens the scope for their movies. And it does make sense in terms of just comic canon as well. So there you go. There's the update. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Give this video a big thumbs up, and a share would really help me out. Thank you so much. Take care.